Hi, everybody. This is Mike. Today I'm here with Scott Eastham. Scott, thanks for coming.
Good morning, Mike. How are you doing?
Doing all right. We have our first position report of the 2022 crop year. So we've finally made our way out of the 21 and starting to talk about something new and I think exciting,
For sure. Beginning of the crop year,
Yeah.
Obviously it's Super Bowl time for all of us in the industry right now.
Yeah.
So as the lead in, we did establish what the carry-in is.
Yeah, so we, after the loss and exempt, it's 836 million pounds. So down substantially, I think, from kind of general expectations at the beginning, right? I think during the 21 crop year, there were periods of time where people were talking about $1 billion. Right? So that tail end of the 21 crop year, shipments picked up, sales were ticking along, and so it sounds like a lot of pounds, but it's much better than it could have been.
Fingers crossed that the shipment problem
Is solved.
Continues to get a little bit better.
Right.
I think, and as you'll talk about today, we're seeing that we had a good shipment month.
Yeah, so the shipments in the month of August were up 10%. That was driven really by the export markets, up 15%. And the destinations that really led the way were the Middle East. They took 15, 16 million pounds more than they did this time last year, in North Africa. So big inventory pools coming out of there. Western Europe, they're really coming off of that tail end of the 21 crop year, taking huge amounts of inventory, and so they were up only about 5%. I think that's good.
Positive.
Yeah, I think it's solid. The domestic market pretty much flat, slightly down. I think they're still working through some higher prices there. And India, as odd as it's going to sound, I think them being down 39% probably will be stimulate some more demand.
Yeah.
A
little bit of a catalyst to maybe make them feel like there's not a bunch of inventory coming.
Yeah.
Maybe make them feel a little bit more confident about buying some stuff.
I think so. I will be there next week, and it'll be kind of cool to see what's happening, especially after this number comes out, get the pulse of, is there a lot of local inventory? If there's not, and there's not a lot of stuff on the water, then I think, you have maybe needs to continue to buy. So I think that'll be good for demand and hopefully price too. So I think overall, this is a great way to start. In terms of shipments, now we start looking at sales, right? What was done in the month of August? Just under 196 million pounds was sold.
Did that meet or beat expectations?
I think it was a little bit on the higher side of expectations.
Okay.
I think generally the industry thought that we weren't going to sell 200 million. I think there's been a hesitation to sell the 22 crop, more motivation to sell the 21, right? Of that 196 million, I think a lot of that was probably more so slanted towards the 21 crop side of things, right? A little bit more urgency to kind of move it through the system.
As we talked about, we do have to face getting rid of that old crop.
Yep. The longer it takes us to do it, I think may be more detrimental to us. So I think we're taking our medicine. People are moving it. Right. You don't really have very much resistance
I would say
to that.
It's one of the strong points of our industry historically is we have been able to take our medicine and move on to the next year.
Right.
This year, I think, lots and lots of problems that were unanticipated with the shipping. There was COVID, all the things that happened to the economy. Everybody's looking for a fresh start, and we're going to, we are where we are and we have to get rid of it. And then we can move on to marketing a lot more next year's crop.
Yeah. And I think maybe from a global economic perspective, I think the European Central Bank raised their interest rates. I think they had the highest interest rate hike in 25 or 27 years, something like that. Pretty dramatic. And so you saw the euro rebound, right? So the dollar weaken against the euro. I think for exporters, which we are.
Following the footsteps of our Fed, correct? Right. Kind of coming in right behind them.
It just took them a longer time to do it, but they're doing it. And I think as exporters, we want to see, especially that euro gain a little bit of strength.
For sure.
So I think that's also positive.
For sure.
So, I don't know. I think that was all good. You have any comments on the harvest so far?
I can tell you so far at the plant receiving wise, the crop is significantly down over last year. Can't tell you, how far down yet. Definitely looks like, I mean, even, as far as the shipment report goes, you can see that the receipts are down. I don't know if that's indicative of the crop coming in faster, slower, but I can tell you on a field-to-field basis, we're seeing the crop down. Yeah. Can't quantify because we don't have all of the varieties in and things like that, but definitely going to be down. Yeah. I also would say lots of worm damage coming in. Particularly in the nonpareil. It's just starting in the pollinators, but we're seeing the same thing. So we saw some aldrich, we saw some wood colony coming in on the pollinator side. Same thing, very high worm damage.
Yeah, I mean dramatic, like double digits, 10 to 20%, some of them.
And we're trying to figure it out. Is it just the year? Is it that growers were cutting back because of the financial situation? I think there's probably a lot of that. Yeah. Everybody was trying to do what they could to cut back, and looks like it's going to be a rough year on the worm damage.
Yeah,
for sure.
And the smaller crop probably lends itself to higher worm damage
seems
too.
to always fall that way for sure.
Cool. Well, anything else you got on harvest or position report?
Nothing there.
Okay, cool. Well, that's been Mike and Scott, and this is the August position report. Thanks, Scott.
You got it.